We think about when we're sleeping, we dream, we have symbols and people and energies that come to us that inform us. In a journey, we use a drum or rattles to get us into a place of being able to allow our spirit to travel with like an inner sight to connect to different spirits.
So you'd be using a drum or some other type of instrument?
Yes.
So even if you're by yourself, you would use it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And usually, if I'm by myself, then I use rattles to journey. But you can also use drum as well.
And how long would you journey for? How many minutes? Whatever spirit moves you.
Right. Yeah, that all depends.
Can you give me an estimate of how much time?
It depends on the reason for the journey. In my healing practice, we'll do a journey to get information about the person and and what the issue is that needs healing. And so a diagnostic journey like that could be something 5 minutes. But when we actually go in and do the healing practice through the journey work, that can be up to a half hour, 45 minutes.
I wish I would have asked you to bring in a drum or a rattle, and maybe we could even have demonstrated a journey.
Mm-hmm. You can, although you really need to experience it. I mean, there's nothing to really see. There's nothing to see in a journey if you're watching somebody doing it. Mm-hmm. But the journey is an inner seeing or an inner sight that comes with that.
Do you think you could describe for our audience what you do with your journey and your healing work?
Yes. We have, depending on the issue, there are a number of different ways that we work with the shamanic journey for healing somebody and working with healing. So I'll describe one process that is called soul retrieval. And in our lives, as we go through our lives, if we have a traumatic incident or a major change in our life, a major illness, we can have a part of our soul or our awareness that needs to retreat in order for us to make it through that particular situation. And so as we go through life, then we're ready to have that part reintegrate into our awareness in another time.
So this kind of the soul stepping back, would you call that like a defense mechanism?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And it happens it's a normal occurrence as we go through life. And as we then do our own personal healing, oftentimes that part can just reintegrate into our awareness on its own.
Well, and I also think when you mature that you're able to do the work as it's coming up instead of like retreating to protect yourself.
Yes, and sometimes soul loss does happen as an adult as well, depending on the illness that you've had or whatever. So it's not just relegated to when you were small, but oftentimes that happens.
Sure.
And so in a journey, in a soul retrieval process, we need to go journey to then reconnect to a particular age that is ready to reintegrate into your system. And so in that journey, I will, we always have different healing spirits that will show up for the client that I'm working with. And so they may come in the form of an animal. Oftentimes they come in the form of an animal, but they also may be a person that they've known from the past, an ancestor.
What kind of animals typically?
There's no typical.
Okay.
There's no typical. It's an animal that will have some relevance for that particular person, but it's not. They can be animals that are native to this country. A lot of people have connections to animals on other continents. It's about the energy that animal brings to that particular person.
And then the animals communicate to you or to these people?
They can often bring messages, or for this particular process we're talking about with soul retrieval, they're there to provide some kind of protection and guidance for this process. And so in a particular journey, I'll see, I can give it as an example with one client I had. You can run into someone who's a 5-year-old who is afraid. You get a sense of what the energy is from the wounding that happened at that particular time. And then what message they need from that person in order to come back in. I need you to remember what happened when you were 5, and I need you to remember the joy that we had before this incident happened. And then you can reintegrate that person, that age back into that person if they're ready to take that back in. So you